Tonight, on the box seat, Hayden Cullen talks about his Group 2 success in a City of Auckland free-for-all. Brad Hewitt joins us live to chat about the Locomotive's win last Saturday. We'll chat to Queensland trainer Graeme Dwyer about his superstar trotter not as promised. We've got another week of catch and release with the whale. Cambridge CEO Dave Branch is live to talk about the upcoming Night of Champions. All that starts right now on the box seat. Yes, he'll have a bit of news for us and some good news as well. Will David Branch from Cambridge Raceways. We're only a week away from the week that does involve the Night of Champions with the race by Betcha and the TAB Trot Friday week, and you will not want to miss it. We'll have David Branch in about the halfway point of the program here today. Hayden Cullen very shortly, and we've got Greg O'Connor back in the studio. Greg, starting to heat up. Well, the weather's cooling down, but the racing heating up with that big week coming up next week.
Yeah, absolutely it is, Matt. Hi to you, hi to everyone at home as well. It's just a great time of year. Really good horses at both venues last week. All eyes are on Cambridge this week, though. Yes, there's a small field for the feature trot, but the free-for-all race is an exceptional one. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
those tactics will be interesting in those two lead-up races, which we'll chat about in the back half of the show. You know the drill. Before we look forward, we've got to look back on the week that was.
Marketplace in 3 bounds, it's all over. NZB Standardbred Harness Million for the 3-year-old colts and geldings. And he's a true pin-up boy, that is for sure. Arafura Stella Rouge on the outside. Arafura Stella Rouge, noses between them. They hit it. I'd say Stella Rouge. Don't Stop Dreaming has come through the pack here, and Craig Ferguson, Don't Stop Dreaming, and through on the inside Mo'unga. Oh, it's very tight.
Bessem got away from Bazooka. Can he hold Who's Delight? It's Bessem a length in front. Who's Delight? Bessem did it tough and won it.
Yeah, he's such a dude, Brad. He's a real genuine racehorse and always, gives 110%.
This Fame plane is bound for New Zealand, and have a look at him go. Racing away, Leap to Fame. We'll keep an eye on this timer. Leap to Fame, brilliant.
Don Hugo. He's going to cruise down and win another one here at Menangle. Down to the line, Don Hugo beats home the Falcon. The Locomotive, he races away, and here's another win. Down to the line, bolts in.
Time Ready Jet, looking good for a third win in this race. Queen Elida trying to hold second. Elderbearer and a Crux, but he's Avenger bet out the minors with it, but I'm Ready Jet does it again.
You know, when you get the opportunity to train these horses and they just live on your doorstep, you can't ask for any more than that, and you just hope that you can do a really good job with them, and she has so far, and been really lucky to get her.
A really good performance, and unless Andy says no, assuming she pulls up okay, I believe she'll be there.
Yeah, great. So Tab Trot awaits I'm Ready Jet.
Peach of a run. Once he got to the front, it was going to be nigh on impossible for anything else, and RC Phoenix walks in.
I was confident he was really well. Like, anything can happen in those small fields, and like, he did get crossed at the start, which I thought might happen, but I wasn't too stressed about, and it worked out perfect.
But it was the machine after that fantastic beginning has been able to lead most of the way. Piccadilly Pete, Shepherd's Delight, Piccadilly Pete hit the lead. Drew clear from Shepherd's Delight, then Tabasco. It's Piccadilly Pete for the money. She's tough, moved up to hit the lead from Tanzania, and she's tough. Over the 3,000, she is too tough. But it's all Cruising Fontana, cruising all right, Cruising Fontana jogs in. Classy Leak tries to extend, they go to the post, Classy Leak. Bruce Negus and Sheree Tomlinson combining in another close go in race 6 of the day.
She was the class horse of that field, as long as she did everything right early.
Bruce Negus, the man in behind Courage Under Fire from a great era of horses, including Christian Cullen. Speaking of Cullen, we'll chat to Hayden very shortly, Greg, but looking at those highlights from last week. We must be doing something right because Australia and New Zealand are going to come together, and what a spectacle it's going to be.
Absolutely, Matthew, and right on cue, all of those trotters. RC Phoenix, we've seen him before. Obviously, the Locomotive doing what he did again. I'm Ready Jet. They're all coming. There's going to be 5 of them for the Tab Trot, which is more than last year, and I never thought that was going to happen, but we're going to have to repel the challenge because they're 5 serious trotters.
Yeah, we'll be excited being there on race night, as will Hayden Cullen, who trains alongside of his wife Amanda. Hayden, you and the team have had a great start to the year, capping off last year, obviously, with a lot of feature wins, and Don't Stop Dreaming's come into your barn as well, and he was fantastic there on Friday night. How are you enjoying the trip away?
Oh, it's good, Matt. You know, it's coming up 3 weeks now, so yeah, been a good trip. You know, we've got some nice horses to work with, and you know, they're worth being away with.
Watching that race unfold the other night, at the point that we're having a look at now, Hayden, he didn't look a winning chance from there, but once he got into the clear for new driver Craig Ferguson, he showed what a really good horse he is. They don't come from this position very often at Alexandra Park, but he is such a good horse. He dashes through and wins it, albeit by a short margin over Mo'unga. A horse you know well from the time you spent at the All-Stars barn. That must be advantageous for you and Amanda, knowing the horse.
Yeah, that's right, Greg. Yeah, we've had a fair bit to do with him, you know, since he was probably a yearling, and you know, Mark's done a lot of hard work with him, you know, since then, and you know, that's why he's the good racehorse he is now. You know, he's racing elite company right from 2-year-old to, you know, the open class ranks. So you know, he's a lovely wee horse to work with.
He has gone back-to-back for the first time, Hayden, since his 3-year-old days, when I think he won the Harness Million and then he won the Junior Free-for-All. So he's clearly in fantastic form, and the race by Betcher, rather, next week is going to be right in his wheelhouse, provided things pan out for him like they did last Friday night. He doesn't need all favours, but it does help, doesn't it?
Oh, it definitely does, Greg. You know, especially with that race next Friday, you know, with the likes of Leap to Fame and Don Hugo, you know, they went out of their skin last week, and, you know, it's definitely not going to be easy, and it's definitely going to come down to draws, I think.
Yeah, Derby winner We Walk by Faith was excellent in that race too. You must be pleased where he's at.
Yeah, look, he's come back good, Greg. You know, I think he's really grown up from the trip. He's normally been a bit of a hyperactive wee fella, but, you know, he stands in the stalls there nice and quiet now. And, you know, he hadn't raced for 3 weeks, and it was first go against the big boys. And, you know, I thought he handled himself really well.
Speaking of handling themselves well, Hayden, obviously we put a rap on her, and you've liked her as well, Arafura, right from day dot when she did things wrong and still won at Oamaru. But she seems to have really grown into herself now, and she's handling the occasion. You must have been so proud of her efforts on Friday.
Oh, definitely were, Matt. You know, proud of both of the girls, to be honest. You know, they only had the one trial leading into last week, and, you know, it probably took its toll on Winelight slightly. I probably thought she probably wasn't as sharp as maybe she should have been, but, you know, Arafura, she never laid down, and we got beaten by a better horse from the night.
Yeah, look, I thought the same thing as you, pretty much when we were watching the race, that Winelight maybe was entitled to run past them, but you bear in mind those 2 fillies up front and how quick they've run that last half. She was still sort of taking ground off them at the finish. I guess you're pointing them both towards the Oaks now on the 25th over the longer trip. Out of the 2, who do you think will relish that more?
Probably Arafura. She seemed to really thrive from the run. The next day, you know, she had all the dapples out, and, you know, she definitely looks better for it. And, you know, we're only our second start in this preparation. So I think, you know, Craig was really proud of her and how she went. And, you know, I think she's only going to carry on getting better, you know, throughout the season.
You got another filly back at the races, General Jen. I thought an excellent racetrack return, positioned beautifully throughout, exploded up the straight. You must be excited with what she's able to bring to this campaign.
Yep, yeah, look, she's always been a nice filly, probably just a little bit on the weak side. She's always had a lot of speed, but, you know, she's come back this time in, and she's carrying a lot of condition, and she just seems a lot stronger.
This performance here, she's beaten a decent, handy sort of field. What are the plans with her? Have you got any lofty targets? Is she another one that could go north, or what are you and Amanda thinking with her at this stage?
Possibly, Greg. You know, she come through the run really well, Amanda said, and there's a size stake seat down home on the 11th, so we'll definitely run in that, and we'll get a good line on her there. And, we'll probably go from there. We've sort of got the Southern Oaks there if we wanted as well. So we'll just make a few decisions after, the 11th.
Just a quick one before we let you go, Hayden. You've got crunch time heading around on Sunday at Rangiora. It was pretty impressive winning his maiden at the Addington Raceway. How do you rate his chances for our Sunday session viewers?
Yeah, look, I thought he was a great chance, Matt. If he'd drawn 1 to 5, I thought he'd probably be $1.90 shot. Just drawn out wide makes it a bit tricky in a big field like that. But he's trialled good, and the team's very happy with how he's worked. I think he's probably a better horse than what he was, when he lined up that first start. So if we can sort of get a bit of luck, he's got high speed. So, if we can be thereabouts turning in, he'd be a very good chance, I thought.
Hayden, we appreciate you taking time here this evening to join us on the box seat. We love what you and Amanda are doing with the stable. The horses are going well. Long may that continue, and we'll catch up with you next Friday at Cambridge.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Doing a great job. Punter confidence. See them line up. Those colours always gives you a bit of confidence. As I said to Hayden there, Arafura, obviously we all liked her to start with, but to see her be the full package now, I don't want to say that Beside Me's unbeatable, but if she were to get beaten, she could be the horse.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously Stella Rouge was exceptional, showed great toughness sitting outside. That horse to be able to get up and win was very, very brave. Winelight, probably better suited to the shorter course, I think, but still a very good run. There's going to be some good battles there, isn't there?
I reckon we're all being a bit harsh on Winelight.
Yeah. Well, they got home at 55, so...
Mate, at the time I watched and I thought, she probably should have won that. Then you look at the times, you bear in mind the quality of the two horses in front of her. She burnt a bit early. It was still a pretty decent effort. And she'd had that hard run in sub 240 the 2 weeks prior.
Well, the harder run than what Arafura and obviously the winner, Stella Rouge,
and that was the turnaround, wasn't it?
Definitely.
First up. Speaking of hard runs, this man's on a great run at the moment. His name's Brad Hewitt, and he joins us on the box seat to chat about his wonder horse, the Locomotive. Brad, congratulations on the news that's come out during the week. You're heading to the Elite Lot. As we say good evening to you, can you give us a rundown on how it all came about that you're heading overseas?
Evening, guys. It's been sort of in the pipeline for a while now since, pretty much the Great Southern Star series. They showed a bit of interest then, and it's been sort of smouldering in the background. And, pretty much after the Hammerhead, they were happy with that run. And about a week after that, that's when we knew we were getting the invite.
Brad, evening to you. Congrats on what you're doing with this guy. That's another step in your career, to be internationally travelling a horse that Wayne Potter did a great job with, and we've discussed that multiple times. But since he's joined your stable, he hasn't got beaten very often. In fact, when he gets on the markers like he did on Saturday night, he is nigh on unbeatable. You must be extremely excited to have this opportunity, not only to come to New Zealand next week, but also to travel to the greatest trotting race of them all.
Yeah, that's pretty surreal. I've got to sort of pinch myself all the time. But, as you said, I'm looking forward to getting over there next week and for starters. And, obviously Sweden, it's going to be a bit foreign, obviously, and a bit daunting. But, really exciting at the same time.
52-1 he rated on Saturday night and beat a decent sort of couple of trotters here. What sort of form is he in? Is he in Great Southern Star form, where he went a similar time in his heat, got beaten in the final, but that's a different type of series, a series that's going to be matched in the Elite Lot though, so that's been a big, decent sort of precursor for that series. We're looking at the market for the Tab Trot, and he's currently the third favourite, and Ki Yang Chucky's still in the market at this stage, but is he in the same sort of form he was in Victoria, or do you think you might even have him slightly better?
No, I'm really happy with where he's at. He's probably a little below his best when he got beat by Ki and Chucky that night, but like you've seen Leap to Fame that night, and when you got to sit outside and when they're running sort of record times, like it's just hard to do. Leap to Fame never looked like winning that night, and obviously our bloke didn't either, but he's come through it good, and changed a couple of little things with him, just with his shoeing, and like got his hocks injected, and it was his first start since I'd done that the other night, and yeah, he looked right back to his old self, and I just loved how strong he was through the line, and he ran a really good last half, and yeah, he was still powering through the line.
All right, Brad, what's your travel plans for New Zealand? When do you get here? Where are you staying? And then what's the process after that to get to Sweden?
Yeah, he flies out with Leap to Fame and Don Hugo. They all fly out this Sunday, and yeah, I'll be staying at Dylan Ferguson's for the week, and then yeah, he flies back out to Melbourne on the Sunday after the race, and yeah, spends 4 or 5 days in Melbourne, and then yeah, that's when he begins that big trip.
What are your thoughts about him around Cambridge, particularly with his gate speed? We feel as though you're bringing the right sort of horse to win the TAB Trotter. Are you confident with the field that you can see thus far that you're a top 2 chance?
Yeah, absolutely. He's got good gate speed, as you said. His manners are really good, and he's such a good gated horse. So I've got no problems at all with him getting around the track, and it's just going to come down to barrier draws. I'm sure if a couple of them, Bet and Win, and yeah, 1 or 2 others, like if they draw inside him, they might want to keep us outside him. But the way he races, like most of them are going to be happy to sit on him because he just rolls along and gives everything their chance. So if they're good enough, they're going to beat him anyway. So whatever's leading, if they wanted to hold him out, like they might not be in the finish. So we'll just have to wait and see.
I like the sound of that, Brad. We look forward to having you here in New Zealand next Friday for the TAB Trot. Thanks for your time tonight, and safe travels to you and the horse.
No worries. Thanks, fellas. Can't wait to get there.
I reckon his gate speed is going to have him right amongst the pecking order. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Bet and Win this week, whether they see how quick he can get out of the gate, because if he draws outside of the Locomotive, then I don't want to say he's going to be in trouble, but they probably want to find out this week how quick he can get off the arm, because we know the Locomotive can fly a 26 quarter off the gate. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what happens at the start this week, and I'm expecting Mark Purdon to come out as well with Oscar. He seems to be able to get him off the gate pretty quickly whenever he asks him to, but Bet and Win might be just that bit quicker this week. So yeah, really interesting. Don't worry about Brad Hewitt either. He's a confident young man. He's got the right horse to bring here. He came out of the Ultimate Driver Series with plenty of plaudits from a lot of people and good judges over there of drivers. He didn't win it, but he drove very well. He'll handle this horse, don't worry about that.
And that was in Queensland, as is this man who joins us on the box seat. Well, I'm not sure if he's in Queensland or whether he's here in New Zealand, but you're from Queensland anyway, Graeme Dwyer, trainer of Not As Promised. A pleasure to have you here on the box seat, and a pleasure to have you coming to New Zealand. How are you?
Very good, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great to have you here. We've seen you before. You came here for the Derby, and this horse was exceptional in that race. He finished 4th after doing a power of work, Graeme, behind Sonny's sister. Then he had a decent sort of a break. Talk me through the issues you've had getting him back to the track, because it was a decent time away from harness racing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, but it was sort of probably time needed in hindsight maybe, but it was just a simple thing. We were bringing him back, and he was had a couple of trials, and he was on the walker one day, and apparently he went back on the gate and then run forward and then slipped over, and then he was a bit lame in his offside hind, and then we couldn't quite find where the issue was, and we had to go through a scintigraphy, and they found he had a hairline fracture in his pelvis. So it wasn't serious, but he just needed time, which he got, which just put us back 12 months. Just the fact that he was sort of nearly there to start with, and then he just had to have 4 months off, and now here we are.
Here you are now. He's won 15 of 24. You bring him to New Zealand, not only for the TAB Trot, but probably a race that's going to suit him even better, Graeme, in the Rowe Cup. And I say that with the greatest respect. He can perform in the TAB Trot for sure, but his standing start record is outstanding, and we know how good he is at the staying caper. So you must be looking forward to all of his starts here in New Zealand.
Exactly. I think it's going to be a big learning curve for him. he hasn't had many starts. So it's going to help him running into the inters. I do think the stand over 2 mile will definitely suit him. The fact that he can just sort of truck along and put others under pressure while he's doing it easier. So I do think that'll go his way. Having said that, he's a couple of his runs leading up to us being here, he showed you can run good time off a stand. Like I think they went 58, 6 or something like that it was. And he came off for 20 and he was spotting the leader probably 30 metres, and his last mile himself, Sitting Park, was 54.5, and he was exceptional that night. So he has got the sustained speed, and whether it's enough to upset the in the slot race, I don't know, but yeah, we're pretty happy with him, and I'm sure he'll step up.
All right, how's he travelled? And for those who haven't watched him race a lot, what's his gate speed like? And this week we're going to get a good read on that, but tell us how you think he gets off the machine.
Well, we've only sort of slid the gate a couple of times. And the last time we did, he actually slid out okay. And he, whether we're going to sort of hustle to hold them, that's another thing. But if he can do it comfortably, we definitely will be. So we'll be driving the horse first and foremost before the race itself. And, it might be enough, it may not be, but he can still sit where he needs to sit anyway. So I'm sure he'll be fine.
Graeme, before we let you go, just as a bit of a get to know you a wee bit more, I guess, can you give our New Zealand viewers a bit of a rundown on yourself and your operation, where you are, how many horses you've got and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, we've got a team about 40 to 50 at home there, and we don't have the top liners or anything, but we win our share of races. I think we're probably say 4th or 5th in Australia at the moment, and 2nd in our state. So for the calibre we got, I think we definitely punch above our weight, and we're just waiting for good support with better quality horses coming forward, and I'm sure we'll do a good job if we get it, and we're going to make the most of this opportunity, because this horse is sort of putting our name out there, and the hard work that we put in at home and week in, week out, and so we're definitely going to make the most of it.
Well, it'd be great to have you back here in New Zealand for take number 2, if you will. I know that you enjoyed your time with the family here coming over to Christchurch, but we look forward to hosting you in Cambridge next week. Thanks for your time tonight, Graeme, and good luck.
Okay, thank you very much.
He's got himself a pretty nice horse there, not as promised. I guess that's the only question when you're looking at it from, say, a betting perspective. You would love to have seen him blast the gate a couple of times so you could have confidence in backing him this week and then next week as well.
Yeah, you get a chance to see him this week, and don't worry about him as a trainer. They do a very good job. His young fella Lane can drive, so there's a real future, and I'm sure he's going to be involved in the game for a long time. But yeah, Graham's one of those trainers that has never had those flash horses, but he's got a really good one here. Like, he's a very, very good horse. Whether he can win either this week or next week, I'm not sure, but he's a big, big chance in a race like the Rowe Cup.
$8 for that. Rowe Cup, tab.co.nz. The Whale might want to have a wee bit on that. He's back with us for Catch and Release Whale, and you've got a beauty for us this week.
Yeah, evening boys, evening Greg, evening Matt. Yeah, caught my eye this week. They caught everyone's eye last Friday night at Addington Raceway, and the wee man from Methven, Ricky May. Gee, I tell you what, it was a little bit scary. About 200 metres after the start, he punched through from the second row. So the horse we're highlighting is in the white colours. His name is Ronaldo. He punches through from the second row, and he's going to get into a nice spot here, but there's a bit of movement from the outside inside, and he just becomes a little bit unbalanced, and he actually half comes out of the cart. So you'll see him very shortly lean to the left, and half the leg comes out, the body comes out, he gets back into the cart, and amazingly enough, after that, he gets a nice run into the 1-1. Now, the horse actually copped a punctured tyre at the end of that skirmish and still goes on to win the race. So Ricky May, the genius that he was, got this horse into the right spot and out at the right time and gets win number 3,159 of his career. So for a stable, he's driven a lot for Warren Stapleton. Ronaldo, who started his career with the All-Star Barn, did a very good job to take out the last at Addington on Friday night. But well done to Ricky May. After looking in a precarious spot at the start, got into a wonderful spot at the finish. Catch and Release this week, boys. Well, Catch is a trotter that I thought trolled up really nicely at Frankton last week. Now, He's a son of tactical landing. Bernie Hackett here. You can see him about to come out of the 1-1. His name is Final Approach. He actually goes to Cambridge on Friday night in the maiden trot. His last start was in the Golden Gate. And we highlighted a horse coming out of the Golden Gate last week, an Illicit Love, who came straight out of that race to win a maiden race and did it very nicely. Now, this horse went in the Golden Gate, galloped at the top of the lane. Prior to that, he ran second to Pretty in Pink at Cambridge Raceway in a very good 2-year-old field. Now, Bernie drives, he just gets over the top of 2 Franks, 58 last half, last quarter in 28 seconds. Todd Mitchell will take the drive. What I like about him this week is he's drawn out wide. He's actually drawn the outside of the front row, and I think he gets clear here to step away. He's not the most foolproof trotter, but he's got a lot of ability. And I think if he does it right, I think at around about $3, he'll give you a sight in the first at Cambridge. The release this week, well, a horse that's been backed in its last 2 starts is a short price favourite, is Master Savoy, and I tell you what, it's burnt the punters. This is its last start from Barrier 2, and I tell you what, it was as rocky as right from the time they let them go. Now, Tony Cameron drove this day, and he went round, I think, about $1.75. He was about 100 to 1 to get round safely after the start. He actually cops a puncture and the tyre wraps around the rim, and he's eventually taken out of the race. So you probably give him the forgive mark on that. But the start before, you do not give a forgive mark. He actually ended up galloping at the start. He bucked at about the 250 metre mark. So this is the start where he gets pulled up out of the race. And at $1.75, it's not ideal. But to be fair, he was never going to get round a one piece anyway. He was as rough as. The start before, he bucked and he galloped, and he probably lost about 50 metres at the start. He ended up running 4th into the race, but you just can't give them the head start like he did and still be competitive at the end of the race. So this is what I'm talking about. When you're taking $1.90, and he has no chance of scoring up, there's no chance he's going to win this race. So he goes into the release this week. The son of Vincent, he's very well bred. He's a half-brother to Piccadilly Pete. He's got a lot of ability. For me, he needs to go back to the trials. I'd probably want to see him on really before I take the short odds again. Fellas, enjoying the show so far. Like getting the Aussie interest into what's happening at Cambridge in the next 10 days. We've got a massive night on Friday night, the Mile Night. It's always one of my favourite nights of the week because it gives us a great guide into the Night of Champions. Berlin's back. Don't stop dreaming. They're Quinella the race in the big one, the $1 million last year. And we chuck in the Aussie interest this year as well in the trot. Really looking forward to that. Small field, bet and win, your short price favourite.
Good on you, Whale. Thank you. Whale will be back in 7 days' time for Catch and Release. Stay with us here on the box seat. On the other side of this, we'll catch up with the man behind Rakiro Rocket. His name, Tom Bamford.
When did you know you had a decent sort of commodity with Rakiro Rocket?
When I took over, I always got told he was a pretty nice horse. But you work him at home and he doesn't set the world alight. You know he's got the gears there, he just does what he has to, but I'd say Cup Day was probably the day that I realised he was pretty smart, yeah.
Coming after him, Rakiro Rockets. Rakiro Rocket over the top.
Excuse one, so he puts a lot of money into the game and he's backed me, so on the biggest day of racing, harness racing in our country, it's good for him to get in the winner's circle.
How does it feel to you to be a Cup Day winning trainer?
Oh yeah, you sort of, you come to these days, happy to have one in, and he was a chance today, and I was pretty confident, but you can never be too confident in this game. But it's just, it's just a dream, really.
Tom Bamford is in the infancy of his training career, but he's already a Group 1 winning trainer. Wasn't even involved in the sport 7 or 8 years ago, but through this very good horse Rakiro Rocket and its owner Ronnie Dorr, he's now making his mark in the game, and he's got a great chance with this very fine 5-year-old in the Race by Betcha. Who are you, Tom? Where did you come from, and is there any harness racing background in your family?
There's a little bit. My grandfather, he lived in Westport up until about 2 or 3 years ago now, and he was just a highway cop, but he had a couple of horses there. Dad's always owned horses, just based off because of that. Granddad had them back in the day and that, but only a very small little bit of background here. Got the university entrance in that, and went to uni for a year and decided that wasn't for me. Your head in books wasn't much my go. So I was helping Dad out at his cafe on the weekends while I was there, and back end of school and uni as well, just to get a bit of money in that. And Phil Burrows, his partner, overheard me and Dad talking about horses one day, or going to the races or something like that. So she sort of introduced herself, and we got to know her. And over a period of time, she was one day just said, "Well, you should go out there in Phil's place and see what it's like." And yeah, the rest is history, isn't it?
It's not the normal pathway for a Group 1 winning trainer. So is Phil the only person you've learned off?
No, I did 2 or 3 years at Jeff Dunn's. He was great. Jeff and James, learned a lot off them. And then there was a full-time job up at Regan Todd's at Woodend Beach, and I jumped at that. And yeah, Regan's been really good to me. He taught me a lot, and a lot of the stuff that I do and the way I work the horses is modelled off him, and hopefully I can follow in his footsteps a wee bit. But yeah, I learned a lot off Regan.
This opportunity that Ronnie Dorr and the Rakiro racing team have given you is, well, it's a chance of a lifetime.
Yeah, you know, he handed me the keys to the garage, and you know, luckily we've got a pretty fast one there, so that helps. But no, we sort of spent 6 to 12 months just working through a lot of the stock here, and you know, trying to get them in the right grade and getting them going good and competitive, and moving a few on and whatnot. So, but yeah, it's just been a fantastic opportunity, and hopefully we can keep the ball rolling.
20 wins last season, and that beyond your expectations, or is that about the benchmark? You've got to start setting it at a level that you're able to exceed each year.
Look, I try not to worry about that too much, the number at the end of the year. You just, you know, this year we've got a couple of nice 2-year-olds, and obviously Rakiro Rockets. I'd like to be a bit more part in the bigger races, not about the total number of wins. Yeah, the number's not so big to me, but still in the back of your head there, you'd like to get to 20 and beat it last year, but just maybe more so trying to get horses into those nicer races was more of the target, and buying nice stock for Ronnie that they can keep coming through.
When did you know you had a decent sort of commodity with Rakiro Rocket?
When I took over, I always got told he was a pretty nice horse, but you work him at home, and he doesn't set the world alight. You know he's got the gears there. He just does what he has to. But I'd say Cup Day was probably the day that I realised he was pretty smart. Yeah.
Coming after him, Rakiro Rockets. Rakiro Rocket over the top. Tom Bamford, that's just his 21st career training win.
What's the plan, Tom? Do you get up there early enough to take on the Flying Mile the week before and give you a sighter of Cambridge, or is that more about how he travels?
We'll throw a nomination in for the Flying Mile, Greg. He flies up on the Monday, 24th, so he'll have 4 days until that race. As long as he sort of licks his bowl and seems to settle in good, then we'll more than likely be there. I've only been in this industry for 6, 7, 8 years, and to have a horse in $1 million races, yeah, it's unbelievable, but it's very exciting.
I love it, and he loves it as well. Tom Bamford, we wish him all the very best of luck. Pretty flash setup out there that Ronnie Dorr's done a great job. Stephen Reid out there training as well. All systems go when you were there?
Yeah, absolutely it is, and gee, it's a beautiful property, and yes, he's got some really nice stock there, but he's developing into a pretty handy horseman. He won again on Sunday with Light Me Up in the last race, and the horse is clearly in the mile this week. They'll fly from the gate, I think. They'll be going forward, and he's a decent chance this week. He needs a barrier draw, I think it's fair to say, in the race by Betcha, but most of them do too. Sorry about that, Matthew.
I wasn't picking my nose.
Nice.
I was thinking. I find when you go out and interview someone, or you talk to them away from the camera, and we're probably the same when we're off camera, we have different discussions, but when you were off camera talking to Tom, did you get a sense of how much it meant to him and
yeah,
what he was expecting?
Yep, and he's confident in his own ability without being over the top. So, yeah, I think he's doing a very good job. This is a great opportunity for him over the next couple of weeks, and that will only continue to advance his training career, which is only still in its infancy, as you heard then.
Have you ever picked your nose on live TV?
No, I haven't, Matthew, but thanks for asking.
OK, we'll turn the page. David Branch from Cambridge Raceway joins us. David, how are you feeling? Gee, this week's come around so fast. It only feels like a couple of weeks ago we were at Cambridge for the Night of Champions. So how are things going?
Yeah, tell me about it. We're all feeling the same here, that's for sure. So, no, just full of excitement. Everything's coming together. Obviously, a packed week. We had races tonight, Friday with the Fly Mile, which we couldn't be happier with, and then yeah, onto the big show on Friday. So, all systems go at the moment, and it's all coming together really well.
It's incredible, Dave, what's evolved since you first came up with this idea. We're now into the fourth running of this race, and Betcher have got right behind you this year, and obviously the second running of the Tab Trot. The depth you've got in both races, and you've got a couple of horses to announce for us tonight, a couple we expected to be there. Tell us about those two, and in particular the one from Australia in the pace.
Yeah, so I think the one we've all been waiting for, all but the other 9 slot holders and connections maybe, but yeah, excited to say that Leap to Fame's confirmed today, so he'll be on the plane on Sunday, all going well, and obviously that was an outstanding win the other night, and to have him having his first start on New Zealand soil in our race is just unbelievable really, and something that we're incredibly excited for.
As we can see there, he's a 10-time Group 1 winner. He's in peak condition. I spoke to Grant Dixon after that performance the other night. He said he's exactly where he needs him to be. So, yeah, it's going to be great for the New Zealand public to get a chance to see him in the flesh. The other being a horse in the trot, the Tab Trot, that competed last year and has been at the highest level for a very long time and gets another opportunity to win the Flying Mile this week. His name is Oscar Bonavena.
Yeah, so obviously very excited to have him confirmed. Clearly no surprises there for anyone, but in the race last year, and things probably just didn't go his way, but we all know how good Oscar is when he's right. So yeah, just adds to the depth of the field, and yeah, who knows whose race it's going to be, which is exactly what we want. All these different form lines coming into the race, obviously seeing them win in different states. In Australia the other night, and all meeting in the race is exactly what we wanted, exactly what we created this for, and yeah, couldn't have scripted it better so far, that's for sure.
All right, you got 4 Aussies last year, you got 5 this year, so the horses are turning up in a perfect storm with the way they all performed in Australia over the weekend. Who's the entertainment this week? Because this night is about the races on the track, but it's become bigger than that, particularly for the locals in the Cambridge and wider Hamilton area.
Yeah, so Cambridge's biggest party is what we've been marketing it as this year, and we've never seen such high ticket sales for any event that I've been here for. So Kaylee Bell is our headliner, country music singer, the most streamed country music singer in Australasia. The Taylor Swift of New Zealand is what my team tell me, and yeah, we've been listening to her music on repeat, and she's outstanding. So for the first time, we changed our communications this week to say get your tickets because we think this could be a sellout. So we just need the weather the last week in our favour, and yeah, we'll be in for a fantastic night.
As long as you let us in, David, because we're looking forward to it. Just quickly, BGP, they're going to be on track with you there as well, playing their role and putting a bit of coin through the totes?
Yeah, so they've got their punters club obviously involved with N40 racing and bringing Don Hugo over, so that just adds a whole nother element, and I'm sure they'll be making all the noise and bringing all the atmosphere as they always do. But Punters Club live on the TAB app, and directions on the Boys Get Paid Facebook page for how to get involved with that.
And if Don Hugo wins, some lucky punter will be taking home $5,000 in cash. All right, David, how does the week look for you and the team in terms of when the barrier draw is, functions and all of those kind of things? Can you give us a bit of a rundown about that?
Yeah, so Tuesday night, 7:30 live on trackside will be the barrier reveal. So same format as last year. They will be pre-drawn, embargoed until then, and then released as part of that function. That function then moves straight into box seat live, 8 o'clock. You guys will be on track, which will be great. Getting all the interviews and similar to the production that was there last year. And then obviously into the big dance on the 4th. So yeah, there'll be a lot of late nights and sleepless nights between now and then. But as I say, things couldn't be coming together any better at the moment, that's for sure.
Just before we let you go, David, Thursdays are back.
Yes, so good. We had a little we all had a little high five in the office when we got that news this week. So certainly one thing I pride our team on, we'll give anything a go, and we've certainly done our best with the hand we were dealt with the Tuesdays. But for us, being able to promote them, get people along and get people to come out and see the racing, which it's all about. It's chalk and cheese Tuesday to Thursday. So certainly we're looking forward to out the other side, getting around to being able to promote those and racing every single week just gives us, that's just magic as well. So we can't wait to get our hands on that out the other side of this.
Cambridge's biggest party. It's a shame we've all got to work, David. Thanks for your time. We'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thanks heaps, guys.
Just before we go to a break as well, completely changing tact. Nigel Armstrong, who's a great man on Unhinged, he did a great two-part story this week on Take After Me, who tomorrow is having his 400th start. He went out and caught up with Fred Scott. If you haven't watched that, head onto Facebook and jump on the Harness Racing Unhinged page. What a grand old horse he's been.
Yeah,
400 starts.
Yeah, incredible. Looking forward to seeing him there tomorrow, actually. And yeah, you wouldn't count him out of any race. He's got such great manners, and yeah, he's been a fantastic performer for the Scott family.
We've got some races to preview. They'll be coming up next here on the box seat. But as we go to the break, one of the great thrills for Blair Orange and Ray Green and his team was the victory of Copy That in what was known then as the Race by Grins.
Homeward bound in the Race by Grins for 2023. Copy That, Old Town Road Akuta. Here's Self Assured. The big gun's about to fire. The leader, Copy That. Old Town Road. Self Assured down the outside. It's Copy That though. Copy That. He adds the Race by Grins to his already magnificent CV. And Copy That. Copy That. He doesn't let down his legion of fans. Blair Orange with a perfect front-running drive, gets the prize.
Obviously it's a prestigious race now and it's worth a bit of money, and it's really wrapped for the horse and all the connections. He's been through a lot, he's gone a lot of great races and won me a lot of big races, and yeah, just got full admiration for the horse. He can just stand up and deliver whenever we need him to.
This is where all of the action is this week in harness racing. We have 7 races from Ashburton on Wednesday, starting at 19 after 2. Waikato, Pacers and Trotters Flying Mile Night from Cambridge on Friday Night Lights. Also on Friday Night Lights, it's Owners Night from Addington with 10 races. And it's Triple Delight of harness racing on the Sunday sesh, with the feature being the Group 2 Kindergarten Stakes at the Young Quinn Raceway. Palmerston North have the Festival Cup, with race 1 kicking off at 4:50. And we have 10 races from Rangiora. They start at 14 minutes after 12. You can catch all of that on Trackside 1 and trackside.co.nz. 3 meetings on a Sunday. You're going to be pretty busy on the sesh, the Sunday session.
Yeah, it is. That's cool.
Bookies have been busy.
They've been very busy, and they've got the markets out again for us for the entire cards at both Cambridge and Addington. So, yeah, good on them.
3 meetings on a Sunday. Surely they've missed one. I'll be looking.
There'll be more than one.
I'll be looking.
There always is.
Race number 7 Friday, part of Friday Night Lights. A huge evening there at Cambridge. The precursor to their big one next week. This is the Garrard's Pacers Flying Mile at Group 2. Question here, Greg, is what happens early? Who do you see in front?
Well, you know that both Pinseeker and Rakiro Rocket are going to come out. Sooner the better will definitely come out. Whether he hands to either of those two, they're both very quick off the gate, so it's particularly Rakiro Rocket. The main question for me out of this race is there's still 2 slots to be filled. Chaser Dream and Ahoka Connor are the front runners for those 2 slots because of the people that own them. Therefore, we need to see something significant, particularly from Chaser Dream. I spoke to Mark Purdon about it. He said, look, he hadn't had a trial. He went straight to the races. Yes, he was disappointing last week. I'm expecting him to be much better this week. If he is to take their slot in the Race by Betcha, he's got to perform this week and perform, I would say, in the top 4 at absolute least.
He's the right man, though, isn't he, to turn one around?
He is.
Remember Smolder going into the to the Jules, was it?
He got beaten at Alexandra Park and then turned up and went 152
Yeah.
and just blew them off the racetrack.
And Mark had the wee grin going on.
Probably from about the 400.
Yeah, I wouldn't be discounting him. Okay, so we're betting into the race then. Merlin, we haven't even mentioned, second row. I think it'll be tough for him from there. And you've got to be mindful of the fact that there's $1 million race in 7 days' time. If the opportunity arises to race 3 wide the trip, they ain't doing it.
I don't want to cast any dispersion on the way this preferential barrier draw is done, but surely we need to review this. How could Moanga get the outside of the front row, arguably the toughest draw? The worst draw is the inside second row, and yet Merlin's the highest ranked and rated horse in this race, and he draws the outside of the back row. It's no knock on Merlin, that's just what the conditions of the race are. But surely that has to be under review because it's not the worst draw, Matthew.
Duchess Meg's won the second row. She's going to be drawn 1 7 days later in the race by Betcha.
Perfect lead
She'd
up.
be a bet for me. Top 3, top 4.
Yeah, perfect lead up for her because she'll be in on the fence. Yes, she'll need some luck, but you're right. Come the race by Betcha, she is probably only going to hand to one horse. Which horse that is? That could be a Don Hugo. It could be a Leap to Fame. If it's another horse, she might find herself 3 the fence. But who finished 3 the fence and should have finished 3rd? No matter what, when she was in this race, and Duchess Megxit is twice the horse she was.
I'll put it to you like this. Let's say you've got Don Hugo in front, even if she's 3 back the fence.
You know Cambridge is gold.
You don't want to be racing one off.
No.
You just can't.
Not at that speed.
Leap to Fame is probably the only horse who could sit outside of Don Hugo and beat him, I reckon.
Yeah, I think so. I think
and if Duchess Megxit's sitting on their back, she might not be able to run past them, but if you were betting into the race now...
Top 3, top 4.
3, top 4. Okay, Trotters Flying Mile. We've heard from Graeme Dwyer regarding Not As Promised. I guess my concern with him is the gate speed, whether he can hunt out, and that lack of gate speed might put him in a precarious position. You reckon Oscar goes forward. I reckon they have a good look with Bet and Win just to see how far they can push him, see how fast he gets out of the gate. And Kai Valley Hotspur's going pretty good too.
Going super, going really well, Kai Valley Hotspur. I think it's not a statement race for Bet and Win, but if he's going to send a message to the Australians that are still to come, obviously Not As Promised is there, then he needs to, in this race, a small field, and say, look, if I get off the gate and get the front, I'm staying there. I'm pretty sure that's what will happen, and Bob Butt will take advantage of the draw, and it's a $60,000 race. It's still a significant stake. Whether Oscar can sit outside him and beat him, I'm not sure. And it's a real fact-finding race for Kiwi punters who haven't seen a lot of Not As Promised. I don't expect him to get off the gate and lead, but I expect him to go well enough for punters to think he's competitive this and next week, but even more so when he gets to Alexandra Park. And I spoke to Graeme a couple of times about how he goes right-handed. He said he does plenty of work that way. It won't be a problem.
I think we can take a bit of confidence around Bet and Win with how much he improved between those first 2 runs.
Oh, he's grown up now. Like, he arrived at the Renwick Farms Dominion in November, a boy, and he's come out of it a man. And that's how a lot of horses develop through age group racing through till now. And those 2 people there have done a magic job with him. It's another step this week. I expect him to take that, and next week's going to be a great challenge. But he has the credentials to go with the Australians. Can he beat them? We're about to find out.
I am curious to see what Mark Purdon does, because I'd say he'd be mindful if he lights him up this week, come
he
the
might
tab
not come
trot,
back to him.
and he probably can't win the tab trot by doing work early. So he'll be looking for cover in the tab trot. And does Mark go up behind the gate this week and think, oh, if I buzz him this time, I could be in a full-blown gallop?
Yeah, I asked him how he is, and he said, no, he's really good, really happy with where he's at. Spoke to him today about him, and obviously Chase a Dream. And he said, look, he's in a good space. So whether he does try that this week, we'll find out. I think Bet and Win would beat him off the gate anyway. He's so fast, though, Oscar, and it's such a small field. You're right about Kai Valley Hotspur. I wouldn't count him out. He's in sublime form at the moment.
Well, Bet and Win's 150 out to 160. Oscar is 310 into 280. So there's clearly some smart money there that's thinking. There's some smart money around another horse on the program too, and that is the Surfer, who heads around in race number 6. It's the Better Vet Bay of Plenty Country Cup. The Money was quick to go on the surface. $7.50 on opening is now $3.50. Bob Budd will pick up the drive for Anna Donnelly here, Greg. Invisible was pretty good in a much stronger race last week at Alexandra Park. And little Boudica, she never goes around without a chance in these sort of races.
No, she's in the right race, and that's why she's now $5.50. But yeah, that's a huge push for the Surfer. Races really well at Cambridge. Beaten last time by the Harness Million winner and Stella Rouge. So it's a good form line. Should handle the stand, no problem at all. Yeah, I can see why the money's come for him.
All right, that'll be race number 6. It'll start the late quaddie there from Cambridge. All of those markets are out on tab.co.nz. And of course, you can bet on the Betcha app as well. They support the Race by Betcha. Race number 2 from Addington is the Sire Stakes Trotters Prelude for the 3-year-olds. Not a big field, I guess. We can take a lot out of the debut of Paramount Picture, Greg. Did things wrong behind the gate, got home well. Are you going her way, or do you fancy the experienced factor around a horse like Frazzle?
Frazzle's trialled really nicely and comes back to the races in good form, I think. But go back and have a look at Paramount Pictures first up, and it was against the older horses, and they picked that race out to get ready for this. I have no doubt about that at all. From that gate, provided she brings her manners, she's impeccably bred. The first up run just had a flashing light on the helmet of Blair Orange. I expect her to be extremely hard to beat and to win this race. I think she'll start shorter than $1.90, so if you're thinking about playing multis, then I'd suggest you start now.
Some nice fields there at Addington, good betting races. Those 2 handicap trot races are good. We see the return of Euro Style taking on a half-brother Euro Cash. Mystic Max Midnight Dash off handicaps. The trot races will be the best betting races of the night. Yeah,
they will. Tūtangata was good. He's been the punter's enigma for such a long time. Freya was very good, fresh up. Kawai's racing in super form. Father Time's back at the races. So, yeah, I'm liking the trotting races too. And the free-for-all pace race has Beach Ball, Vesum, Smoke on the Water, Renegade off the front, so even though it's a small field, it'll be a good race too, and it's Owners' Night. So I know they're putting together a pretty good sort of a program for that. Rachel Deegan and the team there. So yeah, if you're not booked in, you need to do and get along and support that because it's always a good night.
Will be tab.co.nz. You'll find all of those markets as well. We're off to Wyndham with a couple of races down there on the weekend. They've got Kindergarten Stakes Day. The 2-year-olds head to the post. Macca Lodge Kindergarten Stakes. The All-Stars have won the last 7. They've won 11 of the last 12. And they look as though they'll do it again, Greg.
He's a pretty good horse, special occasion, and he's been kept right up to the mark for this. He was super first up. I expect him to be hardest to beat again. It won't be easy from that draw, but he's got the class factor, and yeah, I think that he'll be winning, and so do the punters and the bookies because he's $1.30.
Son of a Mystery, good Quinella play?
Yeah, definitely. And from that handy barrier draw, it'll take some beating too. And of course, Secret's Wish, who finished second behind Special Occasion, takes its place at Addington Raceway, and a good fillies race too. So yeah, plenty of 2-year-olds starting to step out, which is good to see.
I might have something for you around that. You just stay tuned.
Okay.
Hold your horses.
Will do.
Sit back and watch and listen. All right, one more race to preview, Group 3. Champagne Stakes at Wyndham. LaCelsa probably drawn in the last place they would have wanted to have. Drawn 1 on the second row. Willing to not forgive her, because I wasn't being harsh on her to forgive her, but she was 24 and change off the gate the other night in a fresh condition. She's run a really good race, LaCelsa. Just needs an ounce of luck.
Yeah, inside second row is not going to make it easy. Ruby Rowe, I can understand why she's opened at that. Sweet Diamond. There is one anomaly on this page. There is absolutely no chance in the world Mr. Kaplan's going to start at $15. Spoke to Blair Orange this morning. They brought 3 horses into Addington. She was one of them, said worked very nicely, thanks very much. It won't be easy, but she has gate speed. She's a Group 1 performer, $15, terrific price.
Oh, you beauty, I like that. So what's your best this week?
Stand by, you mentioned it. I've gone with Secret's Wish. I know there's not a lot of exposed form for a number of these horses because they're first up, but yeah, I think it'll be extremely hard to beat. First up run in behind Special Occasion. I think it'll win the Kindergarten. Therefore, yeah, I'm thinking that this horse will take all sorts of beating from a handy draw. Better Bell's in there, and she's a bit of quality too. But I think Secret's Wish on that first up run will be winning on Friday night.
All right, the show next week's going to be interesting.
Yes.
Best of the night, I'm taking you on.
Nice.
Better Bell.
Oh, okay.
Now, if Better Bell was in the position that the winner had here, she wins.
Yep.
She had to cover extra ground around the corner. Winner snuck up the pegs into the spot that Carter had her in. Came off down the back, had to come wide. She's a very good filly, this. So...
This is the standby call before.
The standby call. So to make it easy so we don't have an argument next week, we've got a Quinella option.
Yep.
And it's boosted for you.
Nice.
So because you and I have both made our best bet in the same race, our good friends the bookies, even though they probably hate us, they're like, oh yeah.
No, hate's a strong word, Matthew.
They like that. $4, I think.
Really?
I think somewhere close to it.
How long do the show finishes?
$4. You can put the night's wages on it. I don't see how they won't run the Quinella.
No, I think they will, because I think they'll lead trail, probably.
And then if you think something else can beat them, there's another option. First horse home. You're $1.70, I'm $2.
Okay, cool.
So you can just back Greg or back me, whoever you like the most.
Yeah, the experience or the youth?
The old bull and the young bull.
Nice, like it.
Okay, so that's tab.co.nz. We like both of them, and for genuine reasons. We're not just being smart asses. I think that Better Bell can win, Greg thinks Secret Wish can win, and we've got the Quinella play for you. So happy days. What's the Whale found for us as his best bet of the week? Da-da-dun. He's going words. Nice mare, this.
Yeah. Only been beaten once, in 3 starts? Yeah, nice horse.
220.
Yep.
Greg Shirley, Andre Patama there, Words, Cambridge, race number 9. Next week will be a big show.
It will be. Looking forward to the reveal, because it is going to have significant connotations around who's going to start favourite, because if Don Hugo draws inside Leap to Fame, we know that Luke will be thinking, well, I parked him in the Miracle Mile. I've got to probably try that again. If Leap to Fame draws inside him, I think he'll start closer to $1.60. So, yeah, that'll be important. The trot is going to be, enormous in terms of the barrier draw. There'll be 9 drawn with the ballot, obviously. So, the likelihood that a horse that you like now is going to draw the front row is extremely likely. And, yeah, I just can't wait to see them all come together, because Dave's right. All of those form lines from different states and obviously New Zealand means that it's hard to line it up. And this week's race will have some significance around what happens with Bet and Win and Oscar, and Not As Promised for that matter. But once they all come together, it really is a jigsaw that people will have to decide which way they want to go. And yeah, I'm looking forward to being part of the preview show next week, because there's going to be a lot to talk about, Matthew.
Is there one piece of the puzzle? Jay Grimson Swayze.
Yeah.
Can it happen?
Well, we didn't think it could happen in the IRT New Zealand Cup.
Miracle Mile was the same. No New Zealand Cup, no Miracle Mile. He comes out, does both of them.
Unlikely, because of the 2 slots that he could slot into, if you like, which is obviously the Stonewall one or the Mark Purden-Chris Ryder one. So they've got options, but I'm not going to write it off, Matthew. If he drops in for this race, then it's a night of champions. It is an unbelievable night, and I'm not going to completely write it off, but I doubt it.
You doubt it? Oh. Never say never, I reckon.
Well, with 3 weeks to the Perth slot race, it's a possibility, and obviously Don Hugo is already doing that. But yeah, next week, Tuesday night, make sure you're tuned in, because we'll have all of the big names being able to tell you what they think of their draws, and yeah, it's going to be an enormous build-up over the next 3 or 4 nights after that.
How much are you putting on that Quinella?
A lot. Hopefully, well, Karen won't be watching. She doesn't like the show. She doesn't like you.
Tell her there's a big queue out the door and it's long. She'll get bored by the time she gets to me. Thanks for joining us here on the box seat. Thanks to you, Greg. No, we'll see you next week, 7 days' time, for our preview of the race by Betcha and the TAB Trot. Can't wait for it. See you then.